So I have one of my amazing former clients here with me, Amy, and I'm so glad that you're willing to hop on a call with me today. But if you could tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of your cancer diagnosis history and just who you are, that would be awesome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amy Kloppenberg, and I am a mom of two boys, ages 2 and 4. And my cancer diagnosis came when my younger son was 5 months old. So he was
Mhm.
just a little baby. I actually found the tumor in my breast when I was breastfeeding my youngest in the hospital after giving birth. And after a few months, I was diagnosed and ultimately started treatment a couple of years ago. And at that time, I was referred to Allison through a family member who had also worked with Allison during her cancer journey. And I wouldn't be able to say that I am in the same place without Allison's support, but also friendship.
When you and I got connected, I'm curious if you remember, like, what were your initial thoughts about nutrition as it related to cancer? Did you have any understanding that nutrition could play a role, or was that really brand new to you?
I definitely had the connection of what I ate translated to how I felt. I'm pretty in tune with my body, I would say, but I didn't really understand the potential of what it could be. And my husband had done a little bit of research just in terms of fasting and fasting around chemo. And I didn't really necessarily believe it. That belief just came from doing it.
When you were first diagnosed, or even throughout most of your experience with treatment and so forth, were your physicians, your surgeons, et cetera, were they talking about nutrition and how it could play a role in during the process of treatment and even into survivorship? Or was that something not really talked about?
We lived in New York at the time when I was diagnosed, and I was connected with a nutritionist at the hospital where I was being treated. And it's just funny because I spoke with her and I also spoke with you.
Yeah.
And there was definitely a focus on decrease doing certain things. There was just a different thought process, even around alcohol, for example. The guidance there was limit drinking to 1 or 2 times a week or limit red meat to X amount of times a week, and it wasn't even a thought of maybe think about going plant-based. Very different. It was good to have that as a data point, but for
Mhm.
me, I wanted to be able to look back and say, "There is nothing else I could have possibly done that would have impacted my outcome." And so I really appreciated your perspective and also all of the evidence that you have, all the studies that you have around the reasons that you recommend what you recommend. I would say doctors definitely talked about taking hydration and eating healthy, but it's just a difference of what is healthy.
We can talk about what your needs are and how to aim for those things, but we don't really talk about specifically tracking on a day in, day out type philosophy. How did that potentially transform how you looked and thought about food?
I think it's really a healthy way because sometimes we put ourselves into certain programs and it can be so restrictive that it almost feels impossible. And I really liked what you said about just eating colorful foods and making sure you're getting a wide variety of nutritious food as opposed to focusing on a number. Like, because you could eat processed white bread for all of your calories and stay under the allotted calories for a goal and get terrible nutrition, right? So I thought it was just really helpful to shift. And it definitely takes some thought and purpose to do that, but I think having a cancer diagnosis really gives you a lot of purpose, right? I was all in because I knew I wanted to fast, but just the other benefits that I got from it, I didn't realize when I was signing up. They came to me as aha
Yeah.
moments later.
So when you think about this diagnosis and everything that's happening around you at this time, is there anything that you can think of that nutrition helped in a positive way impact those things around you?
I think it really helped the health of my whole family. It was a really nice way to be able to share what nutrition can do with not just me, not just my husband, but the whole family. There are people
Mhm.
coming in and out and learning about the way that we're eating and what we're doing to take care of ourselves. It's influential, not just the people who live with you, but the other people who you're around. Other than physical, maybe it's getting better sleep. There are a bunch of different ways, but I would say the knock-on effect of influencing not just myself, not just my household, but others around me too. And I also like what you say about being plant-based, focus on plant-based as opposed to eating a vegan and like plant forward thought process as opposed to being so exclusive or so strict, and just being imperfectly vegan is better than being super strict.
What two parts of the program would you say, if there's anything that stands out, was the most impactful for you in terms of making progress or improvements in your lifestyle?
Everyone has their own issues. For me, the biggest thing
Mhm.
was the nausea. For me, the symptom management was like the number one. And then I think the meal planning is really a great idea just for life, not just
Mhm.
for someone who's going through chemo, but just in general. What can I eat that would make me feel good?
If you can finish this sentence, I almost didn't join because.
I can't because I don't have time, is what I would
Mm.
have said before.
Yeah. And what would you tell that person or yourself that said, I don't have time?
I would have said, if you don't outsource or delegate parts of your life, you won't ever get that extra time. So just being willing to invest a little bit, you get a whole lot more return. Whether it's your emotional energy or your time, all of that, you have to give a little to be able to get, right? I want to be able to live this long life. I want to be healthier. I have to invest this time.
Who would you recommend this program to?
100% I would recommend it to somebody who's been diagnosed. In my case, it was breast cancer, but maybe I would say who knows that they have something that puts them at higher risk, right? You want to do everything in your power to take control and influence your outcome. This would be a good way to ease your mind to know that you're taking control, you're taking it into your hand. And I would say survivors too, because what you don't know about when you get diagnosed is it's going to take up all this time and energy and thought process around how do I get through treatment. Survivorship is this whole deal navigating what's normal now and how do you live that life. I think having a healthy diet and lifestyle in that respect can really influence it.
If you were able to give a piece of advice to someone who was just recently diagnosed, what would you tell them?
I would say, and someone told me this, and I think it might have been you, I can't remember, but right now, cancer is taking up your whole life. It feels like it's consuming your whole life. And it will always be a part of your life, but later it will be a smaller part of your life. You'll look back and it will be that thing that you did. The treatment will be that thing that you did, but it won't be your whole life, and your hair might fall out or you might lose your eyebrows and your eyelashes, but you can look at me and see that you'll get back to normal. It won't be the same normal, but you'll get back to normal. You'll be a different person. You might even be a better person. I'm grateful for you, and your business made a whole big impact on my life. And so if it can help people and help them make a decision to help their lives, I'm all about it. Even just helping one person.